All right, we're back with Coach Tim Vakakes on the Coach V Show here. Spain Park head coach, coming off a big win Friday night against Sparkman. How you doing today, Coach?
Doing good, man. Just trying to make it to Friday. Just trying to get through the day.
Yeah, quick. Let's touch on the game Friday night. I think there was some pleasant surprises out there. 4 turnovers. Brock Bradley, I think, 5 touchdown passes.
He did.
So
the thing that we liked is we had a lot of kids catch passes. It wasn't just one kid that caught all the touchdowns. It was spread out amongst, receivers, fullbacks. Just a lot of different guys caught passes. So that tells you your quarterback knows where to put the ball.
Got to be pleased with the receivers too, with their downfield blocking. A lot of key blocks downfield that turned a 2-yard gain into a 10-yard gain, and one that actually turned it into a touchdown.
You're right. No, it was that Coach Thompson and Coach Simmons do a really good job with those guys, and there's only one ball, and only one person can touch it every play, and everybody else got to do their job, and they want them to block when they have the ball, so you got to return the favor. So that's another example of just our guys playing for each other instead of with. That if I don't have the ball, I still have a job to do to help him be successful.
Yeah, there's a quote out there that says, "Greatness is a lot of little things done right." And that's one thing that I learned this week talking to Coach Bush is your productivity points. Talk about that just a little bit.
Yeah, so production points, it's kind of a way to assess, kids while they're playing. A kid might grade out really badly or not very good, but they have a lot of production points, meaning they're making plays, whether it be offensively making big blocks, making a big third down catch, scoring a touchdown, making a catch, making a long run, making a big play. Defensively, they might not grade real high, but they have a couple of tackle for losses, a pass breakup. Just it's a production points that you put them together for different things that you do during a game. So that's one thing that we stress is that's how captains are chosen each week. Not who we like, not who our favorite is, not who has a good number. Not who's just a senior. Like none of that matters. What matters is you're producing on the field. So production points for every position, they have their own metric. They go by like a rubric. And as coaches grade, they add them up. You can get points taken away for a loaf, for missed assignment. If you have a turnover yourself, you lose points on offense. So that if you have a missed tackle on defense, you lose points. So it's just a way of holding the kids accountable, but also, being very transparent in how they're playing and are they producing or are they not.
Oh, you mentioned the captains a little bit. I was impressed by this last week when I came to practice. You count on your captains almost. You have a group of captains, and treat them almost like a leadership committee. You brought them over. So you brought them over in practice, had a little meeting with your captains, asked them some questions, everything from what uniform do you want to wear to how do they want to do things. You really kind of make it. You really find a way to make it the players' team, even by doing that, don't you?
We try. We tell these kids that coaches. We can only get them so far. Like it has to be a player-led team, and we put a lot on our captains. We had book studies this off season about leadership. You can't lead if you're not doing right. Can't expect anybody to lead to follow you if you're not doing right. There's a big accountability, responsibility that comes with leadership. Because you're always going to be being watched. So we do hold our 12 captains highly accountable, and in turn, they're kind of like coaches' extensions. There are extensions of the team, and we got really good kids that it means a lot to, and they're trying to do things the right way around here.
Yeah, I think again, you talk about, I think not only accountability, but also, the motivation. We talked about the fumble to start the game last week, and I think the first thing you saw was Hudson Reed picking him up, bringing him to the sidelines. Come on, we got this. And then your defense getting the ball back. It was like no worries. So just talk a little bit about the mentality from player to player. It's not even, I know you got coach to player, but player to player, you guys have really strong bonds.
This team, we've talked all off season about playing for each other. Everything we do is for somebody else. There's a sense of humility there. There's a sense of respect. There's a sense of love. There's a sense of responsibility that if I'm doing something for somebody, I don't want to let that person down. And, so when somebody makes a mistake, they feel bad about it. But like our devotion today talks about, when somebody makes a mistake, you still have to love through the mistake. You can't just berate them. I mean, if they make a mistake, they make a mistake. But loving somebody through mistakes is not deleting the mistake. You can't just take the mistake away. But at the same time, when you love through mistakes, I think that builds really good relationships. So right now we've got some good relationships on this team, and I feel like led by our coaching staff, it's very healthy. That when somebody makes a mistake, we just pick them up and let's move on. They didn't want to make the mistake, but they did. Let's pick them up and move on.
This week you got Hoover. Obviously, that's always a big one. And how do you keep the team focused on this is just another game?
Well, it's the next game on our schedule. But just to say it's just another game, that'd be lying because it's not. Iron Bowls are different than different game. Other games. Florida State is different. Just big rival games are different. But we're not doing anything special about it. We're not doing any kind of special preparation or special message or, these games, you shouldn't have to do a lot of rah-rah to get kids excited about playing in this game, and their kids want to win for their community. Our kids want to win for our community. And, you're going to have a superintendent and a board kind of split down the middle and not really knowing who to cheer for and just hoping everything goes right and the game's played the correct way and making the school system proud. But there's nothing really you do special. You don't do anything extra, but there's no doubt that the kids want this game.
Looking through Hoover's starting lineup last week, I assume it'll be very similar this week. A lot of seniors on this team, almost an entire senior offensive line. Quarterback, I think, is a little bit younger, but for the most part, senior running back. There's a lot of experience, a lot of big games. What concerns you the most when you face them from a defensive perspective?
Everything. I mean, the quarterback that Mac Beeson, the kid came from Gardendale, he's a very good football player. He's a senior. He's played a lot of ball. When you look at him on film, and even Friday night we walk out there and look across the sidelines. I mean, they're pretty kids. They're long, tall, big. And they got playmakers. You can play really good defense for 55 snaps, but the 3 plays you don't. They're 21 points. If you don't tackle Winston or cover him or forget to cover Reggie, the receiver that came from here, Reggie Jackson, if you don't cover number 1, you can play really good football, but you look up and all of a sudden it's 21 points later because you didn't do your job on 3 individual plays. They're not going to go for first downs; they're going for touchdowns. So, there's a lot they do that concerns you as a coach, but our coach, Coach Bush, and defensive guys doing a great job. They have a really good plan, and our kids, hopefully, we can get out there and execute.
Offensively, last week, you got to be pretty pleased. I mean, what concerns you have on offense as you go up against, again, a very senior-laden Hoover defense?
Same thing. I mean, you're going to look over there and see a really big Mike linebacker. You're going to see long defensive ends. You're going to see big inside defensive tackles and very talented secondary. So I mean, they don't really have any weak links over there on defense. It's not like you can try to pick on somebody. There's nobody to pick on. We have to execute, and we've got to be able to run the ball. Receivers have to block downfield. Brock's got to make the right reads, give it to the right guy. And, when you get that chance to make a play, you got to make it. It can't be you're open or you have a gap to run through and you don't make the play. You have to make the play in games like this because you don't get do-overs.
Talk a little bit about Braden Matherson. I talked to Coach Bush on Sunday, and he was talking about, and when I asked him about Friday, I said you were pleasantly surprised with. And one of the things that he said was all the calls. It felt like a lot of the calls and the adjustments got made right, especially that early in the season from a guy that played some last year as a backup, but as a starter now. But he said as a Sam linebacker, he makes a lot of those calls and adjustments. So talk about the job he's done for you and what he means to the team.
Yeah, Braden's done such a good job at that Sam, that nickel back. He played DB last year, but we moved him up the line because he's a very good tackler. He can really run. He's aggressive. He's tough, and he's smart. Because that Sam, that guy's setting a lot of things. A lot of things on defense revolve around him, where he's lined up, what his role is, whether it be a blitz, whether it be a coverage. So they put a lot on Matherson. But Braden's a senior, and again, it means a great deal to him to be successful for Spain Park. And anytime you got kids that it means a lot to, that are talented, good things happen. And he's a good kid, and they're gonna be leaning on him Friday night to go out there and make some plays. There's no doubt.
The other one I wanted to highlight is EJ Curley. Again, both defensive today, but again, he is a guy that goes out and had a lot of impact on a lot of plays, whether he was making the tackle or not. I think he had at least a half a sack. But he's one of those guys that he's loud on the field, but he does it quietly, if that makes sense.
Yeah, EJ, man, when you if you were to draw up exactly what you want in a middle linebacker, it'd be EJ Curley. Like that is what you want. A guy that's violent, that's tough, that's strong, that's thick, that can run, gets people lined up. And again, he's another one that it means a lot to. It means a lot to him to be right. It means a lot to him that he's good, that he's successful, that he does his job well. He takes a lot of pride in it, and that's a credit to his parents. They've done a really good job with him. That he demands excellence from himself, and so he's got a chance to keep being a really good football player. He's a hard worker, and he's tough. There's no doubt he is one of the toughest kids we have.
I want to touch on just sort of not only is this game big for the players, the victory, the loss, but it's also big for our community because both schools kind of get behind. And you to mention this on Sunday night, just touch on again, Hoover helps and how big that is and how much this brings our community together. And this game was important to you because technically we don't have to play it. We're not in the same region anymore. But it's something that you said when we made this jump to 6A that you were going to keep this game not only for the on the field, but the off the field. So just talk about that real quick.
Yeah, I mean, I think this game's a no-brainer. I don't think you get rid of this game. Whether we're in the same region, same classification or not, I think it's good for everybody. I think it's a good money gate. This year it'll be at the Met, so I expect Hoover to make a good bit of money. Next year when it's here, I expect a good bit of money coming to us. So there's just so many reasons that you do play it, and there's no reason not to. There's just a lot of pride in the system, and it means a lot to a lot of people. So hopefully we can get out there and make the community and the alumni and the student body and the fans and everybody. Hopefully we can make them proud by how we play, and hopefully we can figure out some things and make some plays.
It's time for the Hoover Toyota keys to victory. What are 3 or 4 things that it's going to take for the Jags to win this one?
Well, first, I think we have to protect the football. I mean, you just can't turn the ball over in games like this. You just can't. They're monumental killers if you do. I also think we got to handle our emotions because it's going to be emotional. It's going to be ups and downs and peaks and valleys, and whether the weather is going good or whether it's going bad, I tell the kids all the time, we got to stay at 7. If you score or make a big tackle or a big play and you go to 10, that's fine. Before the next snap, you better get back to 7 because you cannot play at 10. If something bad happens and you go down to a 2 and you're feeling sorry for yourself and low energy, we can respect that. But before the next snap, you better get back to 7. And so we got to handle our emotions. It's going to be emotional. And third, I think you got to make plays. I think if any close game, if you go back and you lose, you can go back and usually find 4 or 5 plays that had you have made them, it would have flipped the game. In games like this, you've got to make those 4 or 5 plays that can really change the direction of the game. So I think those 3 things are going to be really big for us. And I think on defense, try to limit their big play. Make them drive. Don't just give them a busted coverage or a couple missed tackles and big plays. We got to rally to the football and keep the ball in front of us and make them snap it again.
Okay, Coach. Well, we want everybody out there. It is at the Hoover Met. You said kickoff 7 p.m. Tickets available on GoFan. I want to crowd not only students but parents and get a great. I'd love to see us build on that student section last week. Just touch on. I mean, I know we're wrapping up here, but I think I'd be remiss if we didn't touch on that. Not only were they come out, we had a healthy student section, but they stayed throughout the entire game.
They did, man. I thought I really enjoyed having so many students locked into the game and having fun and cheering for their classmates. We actually had them chanting. They were almost like a note in the movie Rudy at Notre Dame. They were all chanting for Rudy. They were chanting for one of our younger sophomores to get in the game. They were cheering for him, like chanting his name over and over to try to get him in. And so that was late in the fourth quarter. So, I mean, they were still involved with the game. And I thought the band was outstanding. I just thought the environment was really, really good for our school, for our community, and I think that's what matters. So hopefully we can match Hoover because their student section is going to be lively and their crowd's going to be going to be excited, and hopefully we can match it, and hopefully as our team, hopefully we can give our people something to cheer about.
Well, good luck this weekend, Coach, and we look forward to seeing you out there on Friday night. Thanks again for joining us like you do every week. And no Jag Connection this week because of the going into the off week, but bring the Jag Connection back in 2 weeks. If you're interested in joining and sponsoring the Jag Connection, we'll have the link down here in the description for you. But that's every Sunday night. And again, thanks again for your time, Coach. Go Jags.
You got it, man. Go Jags.